Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially Monday, folks, October 14th. We are only, 22 days out from the election? Well, I'll tell you what, it's closer than ever. It's bigger than ever, folks, and the media are panicking. They are freaking out right now. They don't know what to do because Donald Trump is making a comeback in the polls. And quite frankly, he could have always been up for all we know. But we're going to show you clip after clip after clip after clip of everything that's been going on over the weekend. It is truly head spinning, folks. But the big news of the day is Donald Trump allegedly had a third, yes, you heard that correctly, a third assassination attempt, most likely, on his life. And it was thwarted by local police down there in Coachella over the weekend in my home state of California. Now, I'm glad they got this guy early on, but the media are playing it off like nothing happened, which, typical, right? Typical of the media that want to sit there and rub the shoulders of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and all these other psycho Democrats that are driving this country into the ground. If you could, folks, hit that like button. Please don't forget, y'all been smashing that thing like nothing, baby. I love it. And it's helping us grow here. Our podcasts are getting up there, folks, I'll tell you. Well, let's check this out. Third assassination attempt on Donald Trump, and it was stopped at the rally. An apparent third assassination attempt on President Donald Trump was reportedly stopped at the last moment on Sunday, folks. This guy got in the inner perimeter when law enforcement officials apprehended an armed man with fake passes outside Trump's rally in California. The sheriff's office in a statement stated that the man was intercepted at basically 5 o'clock on Saturday evening, just a minute before the event was to start. We probably stopped another assassination attempt. That comes from Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Then Miller, a 49-year-old resident of Las Vegas, was stopped in a black SUV and was found to be illegally in possession of a shotgun. Oh, shocker. Shocker. The guy got a firearm illegally. How many times do we have to see this, folks? How many times do we have to see somebody getting something illegal, and a loaded handgun, by the way, and a high-capacity magazine, but yet they want to take away your firearms? They want to sit there and chisel away your Second Amendment rights, going, well, the people that are getting their guns illegally are getting them. Yes. Miller was taken into custody without incident and booked at the John J. Benoit Detention Center for possession of a loaded firearm and possession of a high-capacity magazine. Miller was offered bail and was released, by the way. Was released with $5,000 bail. Wow. Okay. Lovely. So that guy's roaming the streets. Who knows? Who knows? You think that they would sit there and interrogate this guy? And I'm sure the Secret Service and FBI are on this, right? I'm sure they're on this. I mean, how many assassination attempts does this guy have to go through? By the way, it's not going to stop. If this guy's elected president, please know this is not going to stop. If anything, the Iranians are going to go even harder. And we have some more information on the Iranians, as well as assets that Donald Trump is requesting. Because Donald Trump, based on what's going on here, needs some military assets at this point. That's how serious this stuff has gotten. So again, the sheriff here shared some details, which most of the stuff I kind of went over with you. But the big thing was that there was irregularities that popped up. And I like this because it just shows that we still do things based on, I suppose, discrimination, where you're basically evaluating the situation in which you're in. And you might be looking for irregularities, like what is this person doing here? They clearly are driving something shady in maybe a nice place, or vice versa, driving something nice in a rough place, and just kind of spotting out things that don't make sense. And good on these deputies for having the wherewithal to kind of look at everything, go, that's a little weird. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was quite disarray. Well, yeah, that should start like kind of sprinkling, sparking whatever mechanisms in your head going, hey, there's probably something up to this. What is this guy doing here? The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate and prompted further investigation from our deputy into why the person was there and what he was doing. I wish I could see a picture of this license plate. Like, it really makes me wonder if, it was just like a, printout. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's definitely fake. It was like laminated. During that investigation, the deputy eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's license with different names. The vehicle was unregistered, and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one of those handmade, homemade, and indicative of a group of individuals that claim to be sovereign citizens. So a lot of details coming out, but not enough, by the way. Not enough. We don't know what this guy's motive was. We don't really know anything about him, which is typical from all the other assassination attempts. We still don't have anything. We don't have anything from the first one. Anybody else find that extremely odd? We know more about JFK's assassination than we actually do Donald Trump's first assassination. We still know more about JFK's assassination than we do on the second assassination. I'll go as far to say this. We know more about the JFK assassination than we do about all three of these assassination attempts, as well as plots, all combined on Donald Trump. But there's nothing to see here, folks. It's all smoke. No, it's all deep fakes, cheap fakes. You guys know this is real. Yeah, all this is fabricated, completely made up. These media outlets, man, they drive me up a wall. They drive me up a wall. Look, I advocate for the media a lot because I think a lot of them do their job. You just don't ever hear about them. The only ones you hear about are the legacy media outlets like ABC, CBS, NBC, those ones. But then you also have the other mainstream media like CNN media, right? CNN that used to have Brian Stelter on their news channel, which I think he was rehired, wasn't he? Always saying that his show was, the most trustworthy news out there. Yeah. Okay. Well, Trump teases this, and I like it, where he teased the idea of Elon Musk having him in his administration as Secretary of Cost Cutting. If I was a single voter, like a single issue voter, this right here would have my vote immediately. The reason why is because we're $35 trillion in debt. The reason why is because our country doesn't know how to sit there and spend money efficiently. I caught myself there. Spend money efficiently. They know how to spend money. Oh boy, do they. They throw it everywhere. They're just not throwing it to Americans. Elon Musk could take a relatively active role in a potential second Trump administration, the former president told Fox News. He's a business guy, and he's a great cost cutter. We need that, by the way. Sunday Morning Futures interview, Musk said, I could cut costs without affecting anybody. Now, I'm sure that's true, but our government has also failed 6 consecutive audits. Now, if you were out there and you failed an audit, things would probably go really south for your company because nobody would have any trust in it. But for some reason, when our government fails audits, like the Pentagon, 6 consecutive audits, by the way, then, all of a sudden they're still trustworthy. Oh, don't look under the hood. Everything's fine. We're spending your money appropriately. Then why are you failing audits? Like, what are all these black projects going on that aren't even on the books? Where did the $1 trillion go that we lost on 9/11? Y'all remember that? How we were looking for $1 trillion. We don't know where it went. It just disappeared. And just oddly enough, the part that had, the evidence, or the part that was allegedly had all the information, was part of the building that got blown up. And then not too long ago, it was only like, God, I guess it would be a long time ago at this point. Maybe like a decade ago, we lost another $1 trillion. No idea where it went. Not a big deal. In the same way, Gavin Newsom lost like $34 million. Jeez Louise, man. Good morning, all you Patriots. I see you guys in the chat. Thank you. And also thank you for the heads up to make sure the mic was working. Little did you know, we revamped everything. And by we, I guess I say myself. We cleaned everything, dusted, vacuumed, freaking alcohol swabbed. And I reformatted my entire computer all day Saturday. So this thing is quiet. It's humming. And hopefully everything is working accordingly. We're trying to get everything up and running correctly and efficiently for the election. So I've been testing even other stuff because it gets hot in here. So I got some stuff ready for that because that's going to be a full night stream, man. Election night's going to be a big deal. It might be our biggest stream of the year. Now, some other big deals that happened over the weekend was Reagan star Dennis Quaid rallies for Trump in Coachella. Time to pick a side. I love this. I haven't seen the Reagan movie yet, but I definitely plan on streaming it. But he said, God bless you. God bless America. I'm here today to tell you that it's time to pick a side, Quaid said on a stage. Are we going to be a nation that stands for the Constitution or TikTok? Or are we going to be a nation of law and order or wide open borders? Which is it? Because it's time to pick a side. Exactly right. You're seeing not so much that the Republicans are leaving their spot in terms of political ideology, but it's the Democrats that are ultimately going further to the left, or I guess it should be going this way, further to the left, that are now basically being encompassed by these progressive values, where I've always said, I don't know why the Democrat Party even labels themselves Democrats anymore, because they're not. They're not whatsoever. And it's funny because they say the same thing about us, but what values really of ourselves have changed? We've been asking to fix the border wall for decades at this point. We've been asking for the government to stop spending money forever at this point. Now, I understand Republicans have been spending a lot of money, but they're still not going extremely far right in comparison to what the left is doing, the Democrat Party. I mean, the Democrat Party is full blown now, just full abortion, showing up RVs to their convention, just killing babies. Did you know there's more deaths in this country for abortions than there are in the population of more than 25 of our states combined? Yeah, I'm going to say that again because I think some of you might have just, spit out your coffee. There's more abortions performed in this country than the half of the population of our states combined. It's actually more than half, a little bit more. It's amazing how the issues of the 1980 election are very similar to what they are today, he recalled. The high inflation back then, as well as the Iran hostages. Yeah, the Iran-Contra, that whole thing. Quaid's right here, and I'm glad that he's standing up. I'm a big fan of Dennis Quaid. He's a good actor, but he probably just lost his entire career. LA is a small town. It's a big town, but it's small. So you got that third assassination attempt at Coachella. Dennis Quaid comes up and speaks at Coachella. And, well, the Iran plot against Trump that we spoke about a few weeks ago on the first assassination attempt, on the second assassination attempt, trying to figure out who that first assassination attempt nut job was talking to. We believe it was the Iranians. We believe that he was working with the FBI since he was outside having cell phone pings outside multiple FBI buildings. Just, again, no information wants to come out of that. So you have this message right here. Iran plot against Trump ex-officials far more dire than previously known. This is getting bad, you guys. Now, we know there's teams on the ground, but now you have the Justice Department Assistant Attorney General for National Security coming out. U.S. officials have warned more than half a dozen former national security officials from the Trump administration that Iran's assassination threats against them are serious and will likely never go away as long as the Islamic regime is in place. Meaning that when he's president, no matter where he goes around the world or the United States, somebody basically for the rest of his life is going to be trying to kill him. The threats, including the ones against former President Donald Trump, stem from the administration authorizing the drone strike that killed Soleimani back in 2020. He was the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and was the powerful general in Iran. He was viewed as the second most powerful figure in the country. A new report from Politico revealed that the plots against the officials are even more extensive and aggressive than previously reported. Of course, because everything needs to be downplayed in terms of Donald Trump. But I guarantee you, if any of this was being said about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, the media would be screen to screen news 24/7 about this. They would never stop talking about it. But what's odd is we can't even get them to talk about this. We can't even get them to bring it up in a debate. We can't even get them to bring up this in any sort of interview. It's astonishing, right? Astonishing. This is extraordinarily serious, Matt Wilson. He's the Justice Department's Assistant Attorney General for National Security. Iran has made it very clear that they are determined to seek retaliation against former officials in connection with the Soleimani attack. Just question, then why are we still giving them $10 billion? You know, the Democrats, oh, well, it's frozen. They can't touch it. It's frozen. So they're not really getting it. Then can we get that money that's sitting in Qatar back? Can you actually just give us that? By the way, we used to build a border wall. Hell, you could use it to give the people in the East Coast there where the hurricane hit, you give them that $10 billion. So why are we giving them any sort of money when they're trying to make assassination attempts on a former president? Or maybe even at some point a sitting president? Just saying. It always floors me when people try to rationale their thinking into, well, no, it's okay because it's frozen. Yeah, you can't touch it. It's frozen. Like they just keep repeating themselves as if we don't understand what the hell they're saying. Of course we understand it's frozen, you idiots. Yeah, if they're not going to use it, then let's give it back to us since it's our money in the first place. And by the way, Iran knew about it. They knew about the Hamas attack on October 7th, but don't worry, here's $10 billion plus more of humanitarian aid and whatever stuff we give them. The leading sponsor of terror, and Joe Biden and that administration just loves giving money to terrorists. They love it. They absolutely thrive about it. Iran's Islamic regime reportedly knew about Hamas' October 7th terrorist attack at least several months before it was carried out in 2023, according to a newly released document. The New York Times obtained minutes of 10 secret meetings that Hamas held that included Sinwar and his top commanders, in which they planned the massacre that killed more than 1,200 people. So it wasn't just a last minute attack like it was played off to be. It wasn't as if, remember how they're like, oh, well, how'd they get in? Well, it was clearly an orchestrated, multi-month strategic plan to sit there and kill a bunch of people. And then what's going to happen now is the Democrats and their progressive lefties are going to sit there and take the college campuses like we've seen and chant death to Israel, death to the Jews, right? Intifada, from the river to the sea, all these chants, nothing happens to them, right? They get to stay and still get their taxpayer subsidized tuition, and they get to sit there and be free to chant crazy things like that, but no repercussions. By the way, you should have freedom of speech, but the fact that you're still at a university that condones that type of behavior is insane to me. I mean, these people took on full areas of these universities. They destroyed property and they're still there. Nobody suspended, nobody let go, nobody removed, nobody expelled. Hey, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. So everybody that didn't do anything and actually followed the rules have to sit there and pay for those that actually did some sort of criminal behavior. God, man, we're so ass backwards as a country. We are so ass backwards. I don't understand it. I don't know when it happened. I'm speculating somewhere around 2008 when Barack Obama was elected, but who the hell knows? So that happened. And again, still getting your hard-earned money in the same way Joe Biden still, by the way, giving the Taliban $87 million every 2 weeks. Yes, you heard that correctly. We got a lot of new subscribers here, a lot of new listeners. Joe Biden is giving the Taliban, look it up yourself. It's so astonishing. I know it's almost satirical. Joe Biden is giving the Taliban 87, an 8 and a 7 million with an M dollars every 2 weeks and has been doing it to people that actually killed Americans, to people that fought against American troops are getting your money. Rather than giving that 87 million to the veterans or the people that had boots on the ground, their families or Gold Star families, no. He's giving money to the enemy is what he's doing. In the same way he's giving money to the Iranians. In the same way he's giving money to freaking everybody that's attacking our allies, attacking our military installations, attacking our merchant vessels, blowing them to bits, and now they're at the bottom of the ocean. He's going to give your hard-earned money to them. That's freaking astonishing. Oh, well, no, it doesn't stop there. No, he's giving criminals your money too. Yes. Those illegal aliens that are coming across the border that are murdering, raping, killing your family, your women and children, your toddlers, all that other stuff. Yeah. No, he's giving them money too, right? Because the states are giving it, and the states are giving them upwards of $87,000 a year in services and benefits, right? They're getting your cell phones. You're paying for that, by the way. They're getting food, which you're paying for that, by the way. They're getting grocery money, which you're paying for that, by the way. They're getting legal fees, which you're paying for that, by the way. They're getting education expenses. Guess what? You're paying for that. They're kicking our veterans out of hotel rooms and replacing them with people from Afghanistan and Iraq that shouldn't be here in the first place, that are here illegally. You're paying for that. You're subsidizing everything that they're doing. And then you wonder why everything's so expensive, and the media's playing it off like nothing's wrong. The media's playing it off like, well, you can't sit there and blame 25 million people on increased inflation. Hell, I can't. 25 million people. Are you going to that's what we know about, by the way. You're going to tell me that inflation wouldn't go up when you have 25 million grown adults here illegally that are buying up our houses, that are sitting there buying up our groceries that we're competing with in the marketplace now, that are sitting there and taking up rental properties, which boosts the price of rental properties because you can't get into it, meaning there's a higher demand for rental properties. Things are bad. Things are real bad, folks, and November's coming up in just 22 days. That election's coming up in 22 days, and boy, oh boy, do we need this man right here, Donald J. Trump. Do we need Donald J. Trump back in office? The Trump campaign is now requesting military assets, things are so bad, to protect him against the Iranian threats. When you need to start moving into the military assets, you know bleep has hit the fan. You know behind closed doors, there's some crazy threats. And why I think they're doing this, even though they may not mention it here in the article, is because there's tactical teams from Iran, boots on the ground in the United States right now that probably came up from the southern border, that are sitting there waiting for some sort of calculated error from the Secret Service so they could sit there and do what they need to do, which is sad. The campaign has requested sophisticated classified military assets that are used only for sitting presidents, the pre-placement of ballistic or bullet-resistant glass in the main battleground states where he would be campaigning most frequently, and an expansion of temporary flight restrictions over Trump's residences and campaign sites. Isn't that crazy? Wow. But don't worry, you guys. Everything's fine. That's when you know it's bad. That's how, if they're sitting there saying, hey, you know what, we want basically no fly zones, you know that they receive some sort of reports that some dude's going to try to get a plane and crash it right into a bunch of audiences. That's my guess. The requests come after Trump narrowly escaped death when he was shot in the Butler rally, which again, we don't have any information about. There was also a plot from the Iranian government, which we did talk about, that was foiled in July when a Pakistani national was arrested in the U.S. for an alleged murder for hire scheme to kill the former president. Remember, there was also a terrorist in the country most recently that was going to do a terrorist attack on election day, and who knows where that was going to play out. So that could have been potentially another plot or another assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. He was also nearly shot again while playing golf at the Trump International Golf Course, which if he would have came to the hole of where that individual is at, that individual would have been somewhere upwards of 10 to 50 yards from the president with a scoped in rifle, by the way, not a red dot, a actual scope itself, meaning that shot you could do blind, basically blind. The campaign has also hammered by the Secret Service inability to provide necessary level of protection at all campaign events, which has led to the campaign to have to cancel some events, which is sad because they don't want to sit there and give this guy the assets. They want to give him the assets because, oh, we don't have the money. But yet you have 10 billion. They don't have the money. You don't have the money. You're going to sit there and give the Ukrainians 60 billion of our dollars and you don't have the money. You're going to sit there. The same people that are putting a threat on this guy's life, you're going to give them $10 billion and play it off like it's frozen, when you could take that 10 billion of frozen money and give it to this guy's detail, or at least pay for those that could sit there and be on this guy's detail. Don't give me that bleep that you don't have money when you're giving it to our enemies left and right, hand over fist. Don't give me that crap. That pisses me off. I hate that. I hate that. Man, it gets me going. It gets me going. They sit there and try to lie to our face, folks, all the time. All the time. I know you guys see it. Oh yeah, I know you guys are aware. It's frustrating as hell. It's very frustrating. Can we just get some good news for once? Can we get some good news in here? Well, let me give you some good news, folks. Hi, my name is Jeremy, and I'm the director of Emerald Med. I have several severe autoimmune issues, and we started because we literally tried to invent and protect what we could do to help our family's needs. Everything we sell, we use every day. We are a small family business, like small enough where if an ad read goes well or bad, it can make a difference for our family. If we get sales, So I'm trying to zoom in here. If we get sales, then ultimately things are going to help them out at the end of the day. Again, they're a small family business. Things could go bad or good, but it's going to impact them greatly. And they keep spending money with your channel on longer term basis. Please, they want you to check their business out. There's a script here for all of you that you could check out as well. You could sit there. They're going to sit there and have a family that's supporting this channel. 6 years ago, they had a brother who returned from Afghanistan with pretty severe injuries. He basically turned into a shell of who he used to be. That's, oh my God. At the same time, one of his brothers was diagnosed with something that less than 1,000 people in the US have and was given a few months to live because of this autoimmune and CBD that ultimately helped him and was clean and powerful as humanly possible. Doctors started asking to carry it and it took off. Now they speak at medical conventions and help across the United States. Forgive me, folks, the text is really tiny. While most companies have 1 to 10 compounds in CBD oil, their oil has up to 50 plus compound. Wow. They make balms, gummies, pet products. They are called Emerald Med. We did check them out last time. You should check these guys out. If you can get CBD from them and don't notice a difference, they'll provide a refund, which is awesome. If you want to support a company that supports our channel and supports Rumble and needs a source of CBD that's real, click to try Emerald Med for 40% off, you guys. And if you don't like it, you get a full refund or a refund. Support extreme muscle and joint aches, support quality sleep, or even daytime calm. They're worth a try at least. Click the link below for 40% off. Wow. Again, I apologize for the small text there, folks. I sounded like Joe Biden. Yes, it's Emerald Med. Emerald Med, check that out. Scan it. Really, if some of you are having some issues, I used to be against CBD. I don't do any of that. I don't smoke or nothing, but I know it has helped people. So I would always say consult your doctor and see what they say. But Emerald Medical Group, a small business that's trying to grow and they support your values. Heck, it's somebody that I would, maybe check out myself. Again, if you're struggling with sleeping, joints, stuff like that. Again, a little bit of a botched read, but we got through it nonetheless. Don't blame it on the fact that I haven't drank all my 7075 coffee yet. I sit there and give Joe Biden crap for years about not reading from a teleprompter. I'm like trying to look at the small text. I'm like trying to zoom in. Well, this next one's, you guys are going to be floored. You're going to love this next one. Y'all sitting down? Y'all waiting for this? Biden-Harris admin files lawsuit. But what lawsuit are they filing here? To stop Virginia from removing non-citizens from voter rolls. Brad, there must be a typo. There must be a typo. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. These same psychos are coming out saying, hey, we want to do everything we can to secure the border. We're doing everything we can to figure out your kitchen table issues. We don't want illegals voting. But yet this is the crap they pull. Look at this. The Biden-Harris administration announced on Friday that it was filing a lawsuit against the state of Virginia for enforcing voter integrity laws in the state that aim to curb illegal voting in elections. Oh my God. Just right out there in the open. This goes in the same way when Doug Ducey of Arizona was trying to build a makeshift border wall to sit there and stop the influx of massive amount of illegal immigration, like 10 to 12,000 people per day. So he builds this wall of shipping containers, and the Biden administration's saying at the same time through Karine Jean-Pierre and Jen Psaki in the podium as White House press secretary saying, we're doing everything we can to stop the flow of migrants. We care. We're going to fix the issue. It's just a situation. It's not even a problem yet, but we'll figure it out. And so they sat there and sued the state, and they put forth the EPA. They put forth the EPA to remove the barricade. And so they're going to sit there and say, we're doing everything we can. In the same way, they're saying, well, we're doing everything we can about voter integrity. We're going to sit there and fix it. And then they sue the people. Assistant Attorney General, who has a history of espousing racist views, claimed without evidence that Virginia's move to increase election integrity was an 11th hour attempt and effort intended in part to disenfranchise qualified voters. Oh, the DOJ claimed that it was doing so because it was too close to the election. Oh, gotcha. So, oh, shit. Oh, boy. Hey, well, we're really too close right now. Sorry. So if you're illegal, You made it just right as the door was closing. You slid under the action pack. You know what I mean? You slid under. You're good. Just vote anyways. It's fine. It's too close to the election to change it. Wow. However, Virginia Governor Youngkin's executive order requiring that non-citizens be removed from the voter registration rolls was signed August 7th, exactly 90 days before the election. I mean, the guy did what he was supposed to do. No later than 90 days, the guy did everything he was supposed to do, and they're still coming out saying, nope, can't do it. The problem is the people who are being removed from the voter rolls are not in fact voters because they are not citizens, Youngkin said. Thank you. With less than 30 days until the election, the Biden-Harris Department of Justice is filing an unprecedented lawsuit against me and the Commonwealth, appropriately enforcing a 2006 law. Holy crap, man. Holy lordy. Wow. I told you they were going to do it. We called it. Go back to our old podcast 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, I would say even going all the way back to February, we said around August the shenanigans would start, and it in fact did start. And now we're sitting here and they're allowing non-citizens to vote. You know what's funny is we see this clip after clip after clip of these media outlets going, well, they're illegal, so they can't vote. No, duh. We get that, you knucklehead. We understand that it's illegal and they can't vote, but they're doing it anyways. In the same way these idiots go on the media outlets go, well, they can't get guns because it's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal to get guns. Did you know that? Yes, you knucklehead, we knew that, but they're getting guns anyways. Just because something's illegal doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. And they can't get it through their thick head because they're idiots. They're so stupid, and we're so great as a country that you could be that stupid, get paid millions of dollars to go on national TV and be that stupid. Well, they're criminals, but they're getting guns still. Jesus. And they don't know what to do. They're freaking out left and right. They're going on their own media outlets and just spewing a bunch of nonsense. They're glitching out. You know what I mean? Like Joe Biden does. Donald Trump's a racist. Like that's what they go back to, right? Their circuitry gets misconnected, and so they have a backup drive somewhere that just automatically goes, he's a racist. His medical records, right? All the stupid shenanigans. So they're freaking out. And why are they freaking out? Because Harris's campaign is falling rapidly behind Donald Trump. The honeymoon phase is over, and the media are doing everything they can to help that honeymoon phase continue. They don't know what to do because no matter what they say or do, nobody believes anything coming out of their mouths. So Vice President Kamala Harris has lost steam, and her edge against former President Donald Trump has slipped into 3 major polls with less than a month to go until the election. Yet another blow to the Democrats, who are already starting to panic about November. Harris has lost 6 percentage points on Trump in a single month, you guys, which is insane. Again, it just shows you how fabricated those numbers are. And I would go as far to say probably nothing has actually really changed in terms of Donald Trump's support and Kamala Harris's support. I think it was all fabricated from the onset. And I think a lot of it was BS. And so now we're just going back to normal numbers, back to when everything was what it was supposed to be in the first place, or was in the first place, and we were just being lied to. Giving the former president the slimmest lead, 47-46, no way in hell. I just don't believe it, man. I'm sorry. I don't believe those 50-50 margins or 47 whatever, 47-46 among registered voters. I just don't believe it. I see Trump showing up, getting 100,000 people at his rallies, which is more than what we saw in 2016 and 2020. I just, again, but I hesitate to say it, but Donald Trump allegedly lost in 2020, and he was still having massive amounts of people out to his rallies. So it could happen again where we're seeing all this stuff, right, with our own eyes. We're seeing all this stuff, all the support, the flags, the parades, the showing up for miles on end at his rallies or for his caravan. I mean, whatever it is, there's just thousands of people showing up for this man, and nobody's showing up for Kamala Harris. She has to pay people to show up to her rallies. She has to put on full-blown concerts for people just to show up, and then they leave. So they take their snapshots and their photos right when she takes stage. They kind of chauffeur her out there really quickly once the dance performances are done, so they can sit there and get a snapshot of everybody still in the crowd. Not to mention they're paying everybody like $150 minimum to go to these freaking events. So they don't know what to do. They're freaking out because she can't sit there and answer a question coherently in the same way either can her boss. And there's another survey from ABC News here also showing voters moving in Trump's direction nationally, with Harris still up among likely voters 50-48. I don't know who those voters are. And it makes me wonder how they're actually conducting this this observational study, because, man, it seems a little bit bogus. Seems a little bit bogus to me and to all of you. Another hurricane brewing. Yep, scary stuff, folks. Scary stuff. Well, one of the things they're doing right now is because they don't know what to do. And when the media go in panic mode, in the same way, kind of like a lot of people just in general, when they start freaking out, they kind of go to their safe spot, their safe place in terms of talking points or things that that don't make sense, but they still lead with it. For example, they're pushing this whole thing that Donald Trump won't show his medical records, that Donald Trump, there's something wrong with him. Now, this is a callback, man. This goes back almost 10 years ago, where when he was president in 2016, he was taking a glass. Y'all remember this? He had a glass of water and he was shaking slightly and he took a sip. No joke. They sat there and said, this guy, he's medical conditions, put in the 25th Amendment. He's not fit to hold office. I don't know if all you remember that, but I sure in hell do. And then he goes to a speaking engagement later, not like the same day, but later. And it was cold out. And, when sometimes there's a mist in the air or there's a lot of moisture in the air, that it will sit there and frost over on whatever platform you may be stepping on, the sidewalk or the asphalt or hell, a ramp, which Donald Trump was going. I think he was going up or down the ramp, and he was in business shoes. And if anybody knows high quality business shoes, it's even slippery on carpet. So he sat there and slipped a little bit. And because there was ice or water. Oh, 25th Amendment. Look, he can't sit there and hold himself up. Oh, God, we got to get him out of office. But yet Joe Biden can sit there and fight with this teleprompter every single day and get his butt kicked. This dude looks for dead people in the crowd. He conversed with dead people, Democrats. And no, it wasn't just him conversing and hearing voices. He was seeing dead people. People that had been gone for 4 decades gone. Conversing with them, having a full-fledged conversation, Joey was. Joey fell up a flight of stairs, not once, not twice, multiple times. This dude fell off his bicycle standing stationary. How many of you knew people in your life that actually did that? Joe Biden hit a golf ball backwards when he was golfing. Now, I'm going to say that again because you might say, Brad, I think you messed up. No, there's clip, and I showed it in one of my shorts. Joe Biden hit a golf ball backwards. Now, I've golfed many times, never seen that happen before. Joe Biden gets lost. They lose track of this guy. He wanders off. His wife lost him at an event. That was like huge news. He wound up where there was no Secret Service. There's no protection for a president. Yeah. He sat there and wandered off away from the Secret Service. Everybody, they couldn't find him. And there's a bunch of people eating that weren't a part of the event. And they're like, oh, the president's here. Oh, they took out their cell phones and started recording the guy. And he's like, hey, everybody. Like he was looking for the old folks home. And Jill Biden shows up and goes, oh my God, Joe, we were looking for you. So they're going to sit there and say that Donald Trump needs to release his medical records. This is what they're so out of touch now. They don't know what to do, that this is what they're pushing. So here's Kamala Harris. Hold on, make sure I get this right.
So I released my medical records today. I appreciate you. So today I released my medical records, as has, I believe, every candidate for president of the United States except Donald Trump in this election cycle. And it's just a further example of his lack of transparency, that on top of his unwillingness to debate again, his unwillingness to do an interview with 60 Minutes, which again is part of the norm of what anyone running for president of the United States does. And I think that it's obvious that his team, at least, does not want the American people to see everything about who he is. So you saw I released my...
The cojones on this woman is bigger than Tim Walz. She's going to sit there and lecture us about medical records. She's going to sit there and pretend like the guy that's in office right now, who hasn't released his medical records. Sorry, Democrats, like, he released his physical. Awesome. So a doctor grabbed the guy's balls and said, Mr. President, go ahead and cough for me. Wow, that's going to tell us a lot. Dude won't do a cognitive test. Well, my entire administration is a cognitive test, is what he said and she said. Good. Then you failed the test, Joe. You failed the test, Kamala. Your brain ain't working and everybody sees it and everybody knows it. Don't give me this crap like he should. I submitted my medical records. Like, I'm going to believe whatever medical records you push out after the fact that you were one of the least or most, you were the least transparent administration that's ever existed, lady. Don't give me this whole thing of like, well, he won't release his. The guy sits there and sleeps 4 hours a night. Are you kidding me? This dude sits there, does an interview when he wakes up out of bed. He sits there and rolls over and grabs his phone. He's like, hey, what's going on? Like 4:30 in the morning. Mr. President, shouldn't you be sleeping? I'm working. The dude was working during COVID. Remember when he got COVID and everybody was worried about him and somebody grabbed a photo through a window or whatever? And the guy's sitting there at like 2 a.m. working away with COVID and without a tie, he's just in a suit, just working. But yeah, we have Joe Biden hooked up to a CPAP machine 24/7, taking 40% of his presidency on vacation. I mean, there's natural disasters, and Joe Biden is on the beaches of Delaware kicking his feet. Look at me. Well, there's a hurricane, natural disaster. Folks, there's people suffering. And you want to know what they do? This is what Democrats do. Yeah, they go sit there and they go hunting. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go hunting, you guys.
And I'm going to grab a Diet Mountain Dew if we got one.
Oh, yeah, let us
pound one down.
So
thank you.
The reason why I think this is worth doing is because remember that one rooster that got up, we landed over here. We can take.
He'll be there.
Yeah, we can take that. Those pointing dogs and run this open cover and try and get that bird.
How many roosters did we see?
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure glad everybody in America is okay and they're going hunting. So Kamala Harris is on the campaign trail doing podcasts, not knowing what the hell's going on. Joe Biden's nowhere to be found. I believe he finally went to the East Coast after everything was clear, right? After everything was kind of picked up. In the same way, after everything was cleared out at the border, he finally went to the southern border. Do y'all remember that? He only shows up to places after everything's kind of figured out at that point. Like he shows up to the party when the party's already pretty much ended. Shows up to the border after everything's been cleaned up. Thousands of illegals in the streets for like months, defecating, trash everywhere, more encampments, tents just strewn throughout. Thousands of people. It looked like a parade. 48 hours before this guy shows up, some say 24 hours, everything's cleared off. They sweep the streets. They hose it down. Dude never saw anything. Oh, it looks fine to me. Everything seems going pretty good. So the media are in full-blown panic. And, well, an NBC poll, there has been a 5-point swing for Donald Trump.
Headline, this is a national head-to-head poll, is that Vice President Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead in our last poll taken a month ago, right after the debate. That lead has all but evaporated, Willie. Take a look at this new head-to-head matchup. 48% to 48%. That is what we call a deadlocked race. It underscores what we all know, that this is tight, that the country is sharply divided. One of the other big headlines here, people are viewing the Trump presidency more favorably than the Biden presidency. Why is that significant? We've seen the vice president get pressed repeatedly on what she would do differently than President Biden, and she's really struggled with that answer. The big headline that
Oh, she's been pressed. Yeah. We really pushed her hard on a lot of things. No, you haven't. Wow, you've asked her the same question over and over again, and she still can't answer. I mean, that says everything you need to know right there, right? But they're not going to talk about that. Wouldn't you sit there and tell the American people, yeah, we showed clip after clip, or we've asked the same question about a dozen times, and she still doesn't have an answer for it? Like, you would think they'd push that, but no. So more of the news outlets losing their minds, kind of talking about how Donald Trump's making a comeback. He's gaining Hispanic voters, black voters. You know, they're freaking out.
I mean, the bottom line is this. At this particular hour, if you believe the polling, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance with black voters since Richard Nixon back in 1960. Not 68, since 1960. That's 64 years ago. Among Hispanic voters, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance for Republicans since 2004 and George W. Bush. I mean, the bottom line is this.
And they don't know what to do about it, you guys. They're like, well, we're doing everything we possibly can to make Kamala Harris look good. We're doing everything we possibly can. So here's Kristen Welker again, espousing the same thing. It's like main news to them. Like, we don't know what we could do to sit here and make this guy look worse.
We begin with our brand new NBC News poll and the headline. With just over 3 weeks until Election Day, former President Trump and Vice President Harris are now tied among registered voters, 48 to 48%. The 5-point lead Harris held after the presidential debate a month ago is now gone. Steve Kornacki will take us inside the numbers,
Steve Kornacki will take us inside the numbers. Like they're going to sit there and tell you how they did all of it. He's just going to say the same thing she did with a plus or minus of 3.1%. But this is astonishing how Donald Trump could sit there and make a comeback. You don't want to know what like the real hardball numbers would be? The real numbers would be the fact that you sat there and lied to the American people for 4 years about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Well, yeah, Walt's taken to the airwaves as well for the media because they need to get them out there, right? There's damage control needs to be done. Damage control needs to be figured out because they don't know what to do. So now that they're sitting there with a nosedive in the polls, all of a sudden Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to do interviews.
Refer to red areas on a map as, quote, mostly rocks and cows. But the founders clearly wanted to protect voices in those areas. Do you not?
Yeah, well, the rest of that quote that they cut off was, I said that includes my mom and my family. Look, my point on this is people feel, and they have to feel, every vote counts in every place of the country. And I think what the point was on this is they see us in battleground states and not across the country. So the campaign's position is clear on this. That's not to get rid of the Electoral College, but it's to focus on every vote. And I think your viewers out there...
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm trying so hard not to laugh hysterically. You start sweating, right, when you hold in a laughter. Remember, this is supposed to be damage control. They're trying to figure everything out. This is Tim Walz sitting there quadrupling down on his electoral stance. Remember when he said, we need to remove the Electoral College. We need to allow the popular vote to happen. So they're saying, all right, Tim, shit, our campaign doesn't believe that, so we need to go in there and get you to sort this out. Answer the woman clearly, okay, Tim? Tim, none of this. Our campaign, we believe in Electoral College, okay? Dude comes out in Fox News and quadruples down. Not the campaign says they want to remove the Electoral College too. Oh.
Listening want to see these campaigns in every corner talking to every person. And look, as a rural guy, that's, again, you know how politics goes, cut off the back part of this. My point being on that is those are areas that need to be heard.
Yes, those areas do need to be heard, which is why we have an Electoral College, you idiot. God, these people are stupid. Oh. It gets worse. Yeah, Brett, how could it get worse? No, it gets worse. I just can't believe it. That dude sat there and said, nope, the campaign is totally for what I said. Yet the campaign comes out and says, nope, we're not for that. Oh, boy. So they take out Debbie Dingell, and it says the message she's hearing from black men is Democrats take us for granted. Yes. So again, more damage control because this is from Barack Obama, and the media are trying to sort this whole thing out. It's funny because the media will sit there and give opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to Democrats to like make sure they can clear what they said, and they still can't do it, just like you saw from Tim Walz. Like, hey, clear the air. Be very clear, transparent, so everybody understands. And then they come out and just say the exact same thing, maybe a little bit differently, but the exact same thing pretty much.
You just heard Donald Trump making his appeal to black men quite explicit. Your friend, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, who you campaigned with in Michigan, says that the message she's hearing from black men is, quote, Democrats take us for granted. Donald Trump talks to us directly. Are you concerned about black men voting for Trump or staying home?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I am concerned about black men staying home or voting for Trump.
You just heard Donald Trump making his...
I mean, black men are pissed right now. Black men are not happy with what's going on with the Democrat Party, nor should they be. Nor should they be. What has the Democrats done for the Democrat Party? Like ever? ever. Remember, you wouldn't have civil rights if it wasn't for the Republicans. It's this whole memory hole of everything, just like Donald Trump's assassination attempt. We got to pretend like certain things didn't happen. It was the Democrat Party that was the party of slavery. Remember, it was the Republicans that gave up their lives to give freedoms to black men, white men, and other people, because it wasn't just black people that were enslaved back then. And so, it was the Republicans that did all the good, but we got to pretend like the Republicans are the racists, right? We got to pretend like the Republicans don't care about black people. You're right. We care about everybody. We care about everybody. Okay. We're people of faith. The one who doesn't care about everybody, Joe Biden. He only cares about people that aren't Americans. And you know what? He might say that he cares about Americans, but his actions speak otherwise. His actions are clear. That's why he's giving billions of your dollars to everybody else other than actual Americans. You also have Raditz here, who's part of our thumbnail, where she said the incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, a handful. Tim Walz destroyed this lady's career. Tim Walz committed a homicide on national television right here.
Incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes.
Sorry, Tim Walz, J.D. Vance. There's a big slip up.
On apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Wow. JD, man, he's good. He's good. And he's right. Here's the thing. It's not that he's just good. You know what I mean? He's not just good at spinning something. He's good at spinning something back to the truth is what it is. This is a man that strives for truth. And Democrats are like, what an outlandish statement. I see everyone in the chat loves JD. I see you. Oh, yes, JD is great. Now, a little bit of a slip up on my part. It is the morning. That's the excuse I'm going to say. I haven't had a full cup of coffee yet. I said Tim Walz. All right, I screwed this one up. But J.D. Vance sat there and wiped the floor with that woman. And boy, oh boy, he wasn't done. Oh no, he was. You're like, how was he not done? Brad, we saw a murder on live television. No, he's not done. He continues.
It's also important, Martha, that while Kamala Harris uses the slogan of returning to Roe versus Wade, she has endorsed policies that go way beyond anything that Roe versus Wade ever meant in this country. Taxpayer-funded abortions for late-term abortions. She's explicitly refused to endorse things like the Born Alive Act, which would protect babies who survive botched abortions. So while she hides behind the popular slogan of Roe versus Wade, Kamala Harris's actual abortion views, I think, are much more radical than even a lot, I think, frankly, most of our pro-choice citizens. And it's also important, Martha.
Facts. She's crazy. Oh, she is crazy. Now, what you're seeing is, remember, the whole picture of today's episode is talk about how the media are panicking. Even when they have J.D. Vance out, or they have, heck, I don't know, it can be any Republican. They're going to sit there and still blame everything that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did on Donald Trump, even during those interviews, because they're doing everything they possibly can to sit there and uplift Kamala Harris, everything they can, and they're panicking. So now they're just saying full-blown irrational things, right? Things that don't even make sense. They're sitting there trying to come out and say. So, like I mentioned, they're trying to push this whole medical thing, as well as blame everything Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did on Donald Trump. So here's Kristen Welker demanding that President Trump releases cholesterol levels. This is where they're at as a media. They're panicking so hard that they're begging for Donald Trump's medical records to figure out his cholesterol.
People are going to vote on. Just to be very clear, he hasn't released all of his medical records. He released 2 letters. Should he release the results of the cognitive test?
He's on display every minute.
So it's unnecessary. You can see that he didn't release his medical records. You don't want to know things like his cholesterol level, whether he's dealing with any issue that we may not know about if he's going to be commander-in-chief. And he also said
the balls and hypocrisy. I cover every White House press briefing. It was never a major issue up until a single point in time where the media wanted to talk about Joe Biden's cognitive level for like a span of 2 weeks. Don't give me this BS, Kristen, because I watched you sit in that front far right chair, if you're facing them, and you didn't sit there and ask these questions to Karine Jean-Pierre or Jen Psaki when you're a White House correspondent. Don't give me this crap. And we know people in that room watch this show. Don't give me that crap, Kristen. I know for a fact that you didn't sit there and ask any of those hardball questions on Joe Biden's cognitive decline for 3.5 years. You might have slid it in during those 2 weeks, but boy, oh boy, did you not press Karine Jean-Pierre on anything. Don't give me that crap.
would relieve cognitive
Kristen,
tests,
listen to your
which he
question.
aced. Should he release that?
The American people, Kristen, the American people don't care about the cholesterol level of Donald Trump. They care about the cost of living and the fact they cannot pay for groceries because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's policies have put them in that situation. The medical records are irrelevant. Let's talk about things that the American people...
They're irrelevant when it comes to Donald Trump. They are relevant when it comes to Joe Biden. And the question should have been there by Johnson. Why did Joe Biden not do a cognitive test? Why are you sitting there all of a sudden wanting Donald Trump's cognitive test, which he took 2 of them, maybe even 3 when he was president? The dude's sitting there running multi-billion-dollar businesses, campaigning, produced kids that are wonderful. Why don't you look at your own party, Kristen, and really have a bunch of questions for them of why they sat there and covered it up? And I wish Johnson would have sat there and mentioned, hey, Kristen, why did you cover up Joe Biden's cognitive decline? I mean, hell, you're a White House correspondent for 3.5+ years. Why did you not question them every single week about it? Why were you the ones kind of laughing it off when Peter Doocy, Philip Wegman, or hell, other people in that room like James Rosen or Jackie Heinrich would question Karine Jean-Pierre on this whole thing? Why was it funny then, but it's not so funny now? Really odd. Really, really odd. I mean, this is the guy that they're saying, you know, is running the country. This guy right here.
Some 59% of Americans say they believe the economy is getting worse, compared to just 23% who say it's getting better.
Dude finally shows up to see the hurricane stuff because he got out of bed. He was off vacation, folks, is what happened. He was off vacation. So Harris had a terrible week, and here's the media, again, full-blown panic. They don't know what to do, folks.
Terrible week for the Harris. She had a terrible week. It was a terrible week for the Harris this campaign. You had Gretchen Whitmer having to apologize to Catholics across America for mocking them with some bizarro Dorito thing on there. You had Governor Elmer Fudd out hunting and not knowing how to load his shotgun, using the wrong gun. At the same time,
Who's Governor Elmer Fudd?
Governor Walz was out there. It looked like Elmer Fudd. You know, be very,
what an idiot. Who's Elmer Fudd?
Very quiet while hunting for rabbits.
Oh my God.
Right? So he can't load his shotgun. He's trying to appeal to hunters. He can't load the gun. He's using the wrong gun. At the same time, you have Barack Obama in Pennsylvania where he derided people who own guns. Remember, people in Pennsylvania were bitter and they clinged to guns and religion. Remember that in 2008? So they're trying to appeal to those folks at the same time while he alienates black male voters by chastising them. So they had a really tough week this week. She had a terrible week. It was a terrible week.
And that's why, to be quite honest, that's why they don't want Democrats in front of the cameras. That's why they don't want them doing interviews, because the truth comes out when they do these things. I know it's rare that a Democrat tells the truth, but when they actually do, they look pure evil and really terrible. The fact that they're alienating people of race and color is it's insane to me. It's absolutely insane. So they're sitting there trying to cover all this up, but they can't. I mean, hell, even NBC, you were seeing...
seeing coalescence amongst Republican voters. And I think that the self-identified block of Republicans who are, quote, non-MAGA is definitely decreasing. I think there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I do think that there is a recognition amongst the issue that Republicans care most about, which is immigration. I mean, if you look at this poll, every poll that we see, it is immigration. There's a lot of contrast on that issue, and I think Trump has successfully driven contrast on that issue, and those voters are coming home because of immigration. I would also say that there's a positive view, I mean, to your point, about his administration's policies on the other issue they care about, which is constitution.
You see, look at her face. Hold on. Did you see her face? See if we get to it.
Every poll that we see, it is immigration. There's a lot of contrast on that issue. And I think Trump has successfully driven contrast on that issue. And those voters are coming home because of immigration. I would also say that there's a positive view, I mean, to your point, about his administration's policies.
Look at her face. Oh, shit. Because right now, there's probably a producer screaming in her ear, he's saying nice things about Trump. Cut it. Cut it. She's like, shit. Right? And then she's going to look to the producer watch.
On the other...
Oh, shit. Yes. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, G Silva, for the follow over at Rumble. Thank you so much. I see you guys. Thank you so much for the follow over at Rumble. Look at, she don't know what to do. Fuck, he's talking good things about Trump. I can't allow it.
Other issue they care about, which is cost of living. And so that contrast on issues is quite significant. That is coalescing Republicans. And I think that is the single reason why his numbers have improved significantly over these last several weeks.
And
you are seeing coalescing.
Oh, God, it's so good. It's so good. And then you got ABC trying to figure it out too. Look at her face. Yeah. I'm telling you, you guys, there's still, I have to, please understand, I can't show you all the clips, right? There's so many clips to prove my case that the media is panicking. They can't figure out how Donald Trump's doing well after all their efforts to sit there and uplift Kamala Harris, lie to the American people, gaslight everybody. They can't figure it out. Look at her face.
Be different than Joe Biden? What do you think the difference is? She struggled on The View to say anything about anything different, that she would be different.
Well, of course she'll be different because we are all different individuals. But just look at the
policy-wise.
They're right there. Right, but President Biden's plans were about building a future economy that is happening right now. We're building the two biggest battery plants on planet Earth in Kentucky. We built the cleanest, greenest recycled paper mill.
He can't even get through it. He can't even do it. The dude sitting there is supposed to be the person speaking on behalf of their campaign. The dude can't even get it out. It's such BS. The dude can't even say it.
Biden's plans were about building a future economy that is happening right now. We're building the two biggest battery plants on planet Earth in Kentucky. We built the cleanest, greenest recycled paper mill the world's ever.
He built a battery factory and he created a recycling mill. That's the best. That's the best thing you do. Oh, no, Martha, get this. No, Martha. No, really, he's built the best economy that's ever existed. He built a battery. And he built a mill. Holy shit, this is real. This is freaking real.
We're seeing those are all through his policies, but hers are about right now. How do we help the American people that are struggling to pay the bills?
Do you think she will be different than Joe Biden?
Oh my God, dude, I almost passed out. Oh my God, that was so good. I hadn't seen that yet, but I had it queued up. I'm like, this just has to be good because the guy looks like a knucklehead. I mean, you knew it right just from the thumbnail. Oh my God, he built batteries in a mill. God, dude, that was so good. I'm still blown away by that. He built a recycling mill. Oh, shit. I mean, yo, come on. Yeah, everyone's laughing too. Oh, shit. He built a recycling mill. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's so unprofessional. Holy crap, man. Yo, this is real news. This is the best the Democrats have to offer. Oh, my God. Oh, well, hey, let's be serious for a second, okay? There's a sponsorship here, and it's Rumble, and they got our backs. Rumble is one of the most incredible companies that's happened in the 21st century, folks. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for small creators such as myself, and they didn't censor or have biases. They were fair to everybody and treated creators equally. They treated creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did, folks. Even Facebook admitted to it. And they fell to the pressure from the Biden administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They stood strong. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice here to talk to all you fine patriots. They are attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them, which is a major problem when you're a business and you're trying to make money. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers, folks. They don't get much of it. That's a major problem and why they need your help. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and you believe in and have the means, one major way you can do to support Rumble and help them survive is by joining Rumble Premium. And I just want to let all of you know there's a possibility, and I'm being dead serious. I'm not doing this just because of an ad read. There is a possibility that my channel gets deleted from YouTube within the next week. Okay, we got a lot of subscribers. I want to make sure I get that out to you. There is a possibility that I get permanently deleted from YouTube, just to let you know. So we will know in the next 7 days if my channel is gone or not. So just a heads up on that one. Join the community. That's not my doing, by the way. That's YouTube. And by the way, there is no coming back from that. There's not like, oh, just create another channel. They won't allow it. So we would just be on Rumble only. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 with a promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means, folks, and believe in this cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are just happy if you watch us on Rumble. So yeah, you heard that correctly. We might be removed permanently, channel deleted, gone, ex-nayed from YouTube in 7 days. It's possible. We will see. Like I said, you guys don't see what I see behind the scenes and what I deal with. It's crazy. Yeah, go over and join Rumble. A lot of you are leaving YouTube and subscribing over at Rumble with your hard-earned money, and that's a good choice in my opinion. One, we get more from it, but also screw YouTube. So I just want to leave everybody out in the open what could go on. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time, ugly truth, to verify accounts on Rumble, and there are criteria usually to get something verified. But if you reach out to them, you know, they can try to reach out to them. They'll try to take care of you. They're the best customer service I've seen, and I'm not just saying that. They take really good care of us. So we got Scott Jennings, and we love Scott. Now, I don't think there's a better clip than what we just saw. I don't think there's a better clip, but, you know, Jennings is great here.
I think the polling this morning and the week, I think David's right. It was a rough week. I mean, her faves are down. They're struggling with, the front page of the New York Times this morning, front page story. Democrats struggling with African-American voters, particularly African-American men. This gender gap issue is real. It's a real problem, and you see the Democrats reacting to it. And I think what they are now finally in October, the election, coming to realize is that a lot of men think Democrats care more about dudes who want to become women than dudes who just want to be dudes. And no hunting, cosplay, or cringy videos is going to change it. The bet is made. I think.
Scott is great, and he triggers them all the time. Scott triggers CNN all the time. They don't know what to do when he's on the air. They start spazzing out. Oh, well, the fucking cognitive decline, right? He's a racist. Oh, his cholesterol levels. They don't know what to do, folks, and they're panicking. They're freaking out, and we'll make sure we bring more of the panic of the mainstream media to all of you in tomorrow's episode. That's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed our show and you feel like we deserve a subscription, hit that like and subscribe button. Subscribing is absolutely free. If you want to become a member, follow us over at Rumble and become a member over there. Screw YouTube at this point, folks. I'm at the point where I might actually turn off memberships altogether just so they're not taking your money. So we'll see. If that's something you guys actually support, we'll do it. But if you have the means and you want to move your membership over to Rumble, that would be more appreciated and I know it's effort on your part, but YouTube is, they're just being a-holes. That's all it is. We'll be here for election night, and we'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check us out on TikTok. We're back on it, baby. And with that being said, have a blessed day, folks. Everything was up and running perfect today. Camera didn't shut off. Well, everything's working perfect. Knock on wood. And with that being said, I hope you have a lovely day, folks. I will be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. And I have been. Thank you so much for the follow over at Rumble. Take care, Patriots.